My name is Joseph, and I live in Redding, California. A while back, I had to make a work trip to Sacramento. By the time the meeting was over, it was already late, so I got back on the road and started driving home. The highway was nearly empty. Every now and then, I'd pass a car in the distance, but aside from that, it was just darkness on both sides of the road. I was driving in complete silence when I noticed a man standing on the shoulder of the highway. He raised his hand, signaling for a ride. I hesitated for a few seconds. It was late, the road was almost deserted, and something about the situation didn't feel right. Still, I convinced myself he was probably stranded and needed help, so I pulled over. He walked over, opened the passenger door, and quietly got into the seat beside me. I pulled back onto the highway and continued driving. For the first few minutes, neither of us said a word. He never looked at me. He just sat there, staring out the passenger side window into the darkness. For the first few minutes, neither of us said a word. He didn't speak, and he never looked at me. I kept driving. Little by little, though, his presence started to make me feel uneasy. I glanced over at him. There was something unusual about the expression on his face. He just kept staring out the passenger side window into the darkness. For some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The silence inside the car was overwhelming. The only sound was the engine. After a while, we reached an extremely isolated stretch of the highway. He finally spoke. "You can stop here." I pulled over immediately. He quietly got out of the car. After taking a few steps, he suddenly stopped. Slowly, he turned around and looked in my direction. Then, in a completely flat voice, he said only 2 words. "Bye, Joseph." A cold chill ran through my body. I didn't waste a single second. I pressed the gas and drove away as fast as I could. I kept driving faster and faster. For some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that the man was still somewhere around me. More than anything, I just wanted to get as far away from that place as possible. I was so overwhelmed with fear that I was driving much faster than I should have been. Then, all of a sudden, there was a sharp curve ahead. By the time I hit the brakes, it was already too late. I lost control of the car. It went off the road and slammed into a large tree. The next thing I remember was the sound of a violent crash. After that, everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in a hospital bed. The doctor told me I had been in a serious car accident. I had suffered a severe head injury and had been unconscious for 2 days. According to the doctors, I had barely survived. A few days later, after my condition had improved, the police returned the belongings they had recovered from the crash site. Among them was the memory card from my dashcam. After I got home, I inserted the memory card into my laptop and played the footage. The video clearly showed that I had been alone for the entire drive. The passenger seat beside me was empty the whole time, but just a few seconds before the crash, a faint voice came through the speakers. "Bye, Joseph." The video ended the very next moment. A cold chill ran through my entire body. It felt like my mind had completely shut down. For a few moments, I couldn't even process what I had just seen. I clearly remembered picking that man up. I also remembered dropping him off on the side of the highway. But according to the dashcam footage, I had been completely alone for the entire drive. There was no one else in my car,